I never thought the worst day of my life would come dressed in balloons and baby pink ribbons. I stood there with a stupid forced smile, holding a gift bag full of tiny onesies, thinking I'd finally done something right. My granddaughter's baby shower was in full swing, decorations hanging like fake promises, cake crumbs falling like broken dreams. And then my daughter, Madison, raised her glass. "This man," she said, her voice trembling, not with emotion for me, no, with pride. "This man is the one I wish had raised me. My stepdad. He will be the only true granddad of my daughter." The room clapped, laughed. I saw people nodding. Someone shouted, "Hear, hear." No one looked at me. Not a soul. I walked out. Quietly. No scene, no storming out, no tipped tables. Just silence. My exit was a ghost's whisper. That was how I found out everything I thought I'd built meant nothing. That was the moment it all began to unravel. Let me backtrack a bit. My name's Mike Carter. 57, worked my ass off since I was 16. Built my house with my own hands. Kept the bills paid, the fridge full. Married my wife, Jessica, when we were both 22. High school sweethearts. She had that fire in her eyes back then, made you feel like you were the center of the universe. Or maybe she just knew how to pretend. Madison was 5 when Jess met Gary. Said he was just a friend from work. That phrase should be its own red flag. Back then, I didn't think twice about it. Gary was always at our BBQs, always helping fix stuff around the house. But I was busting my back in construction. I wasn't around enough to see the cracks forming. Turns out, those fixes included my marriage. But I didn't know. Not then. Not until that toast. Because in that moment, it wasn't just Madison's words that cut. It was the way Jess smiled. Like she'd been waiting years to see me fall. I knew something deeper had snapped. Something buried. Something dark. I went home after the shower. Alone. Poured a drink. Just stared at the living room. The place we raised our daughter. The place we fought, laughed, dreamed, and apparently lied. At midnight, Jessica walked in. "Why'd you leave like that?" she asked. "You embarrassed Madison." I laughed. That dry kind of laugh that doesn't feel human. "She embarrassed me." "You always make everything about yourself," she said, rolling her eyes like I was some needy idiot. That was when it hit me. She didn't care. Not 1 ounce. I didn't ask her anything that night. Just let her go upstairs. Watched her walk away like she hadn't just stomped on 30 years of my life. But the questions started spinning. Who was Gary really? What had Madison seen in him that she never saw in me? Why did I feel like a stranger in my own home? That night, I didn't sleep. I pulled out my old box of receipts, photo albums, cards Jess had written me back in the 90s. Compared her handwriting then to now. Compared her tone. Everything felt fake. Hollow. Something was wrong. I wasn't just mourning a moment. I was standing at the graveside of my marriage. And I hadn't even seen the body yet. The next morning, I started digging. Not metaphorically. I mean real digging. Old phone records. Bank statements. She always said she handled the finances. Now I knew why. I found an Uber receipt from last month. She said she was at her sister's. The drop-off location was Gary's condo on East Roosevelt. I still didn't want to believe it. I called Madison. I asked her, point blank, "Do you know if your mom's been seeing Gary again?" There was a pause. A long, loaded pause. Then she said, "Dad, maybe you should talk to Mom about that." And hung up. She knew. My own daughter knew. And didn't care. That's when I started shaking. Not from fear. Not from heartbreak. From rage. You ever feel that deep, hot rage? The kind that boils in your bones and makes your hands twitch? That's where I was. 35 years of loyalty and sacrifice reduced to a goddamn punchline at a baby shower. This wasn't just betrayal. This was war. But I still needed proof. Not for court, no. For me. For closure. So the next step? I'd find it. I'd follow her. I'd catch her in the act. And what I discovered next would make that baby shower feel like a walk through a garden. I waited until Thursday. She always said Thursdays were her book club nights. I'd never questioned it before. Hell, I'd even joked about it. How many bottles of wine does it take to get through Jane Austen? I'd say. She'd roll her eyes, call me an idiot, and kiss me like nothing was wrong. But this time I followed her. She left the house at 6:42 p.m., keys jingling, wearing a navy blue blouse I'd never seen before. Tight jeans, heels. Hair done up like she was going on a date. Not to sit in a circle with middle-aged women and read Pride and Prejudice. I stayed a few cars behind, driving slow, windows down, heart pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. She didn't go to Linda's house, where book club was supposedly hosted. She didn't even slow down near that neighborhood. She drove straight to East Roosevelt, Gary's building, watched her park, watched her text someone. Not 5 seconds later, the door opened and Gary, that smug bastard, stepped out in a robe. A damn robe. She ran to him like she was 18 again, like she hadn't spent half her life pretending to love someone else. He kissed her. Full. Deep. Her hands went to his chest like they'd done it 1,000 times. I nearly opened the door, nearly stormed across that lot and made a scene. But I didn't. I needed more. So I took photos. I waited there for almost 2 hours while they were upstairs. Lights on, curtains half closed. Every so often, I saw silhouettes. Movement. The kind of movement no one could mistake for anything innocent. When she finally came out, hair messy, lipstick gone, she looked satisfied. Happy. She got in her car and left like it was just another normal evening. I didn't follow her home. I didn't want to see her crawl back into our bed. I drove to a motel, sat in the parking lot, and just stared at the wheel. I didn't cry. Not yet. I was still running on fury. The next morning, she made eggs. Asked me if I wanted toast. Had the audacity to kiss my cheek like she hadn't spent the night tangled up in someone else's sheets. That was the moment I realized Jessica wasn't just cheating. She was mocking me. I waited till Sunday to say something. Let it stew. Let her dig herself deeper. Then I confronted her. We were sitting at the kitchen table. She was scrolling through her phone, probably texting that prick. You weren't at book club Thursday. Her thumb stopped. She looked up slowly, head tilted. Excuse me. You were at Gary's. There was a long, quiet moment. Then she laughed. Actually laughed. You followed me, she said. Jesus, Mike. That's pathetic. You lied. Oh, come on, she scoffed. Don't act like this marriage has been perfect. You've been emotionally dead for years. I was building our life, I snapped. Working, paying for everything. You think that's easy? She leaned back in the chair, arms crossed. Maybe if you hadn't been so boring, I wouldn't have had to look elsewhere. There it was. No tears, no guilt, no apology, just raw, unfiltered contempt. Does Madison know? I asked. She smiled, smirked. She knows. She's not stupid. And for the record, Gary's been more of a father to her than you ever were. That broke me. I didn't show it, but it cracked something deep. Then why the hell did you stay with me? I said, barely able to hold my voice steady. Because you were useful, she said coldly. You paid the bills. You fixed things. You were convenient. I stood there, trying to process how the woman I married had become this ice-cold creature in front of me. She picked up her coffee, sipped it like nothing happened. That's when I realized this wasn't the first time. This had been going on for years. And she never planned to stop. The worst part? She didn't care. She never had. I didn't pack a bag. Didn't slam a door. I just walked out. Keys in hand. Jacket over my shoulder. I left her sitting there like the scene didn't matter. Like I didn't matter. I didn't even know where I was going. Ended up driving 2 towns over, into a gas station parking lot. Sat there with the engine running, staring at a flickering, open 24 hours sign like it was going to give me answers. Every emotion you could name was hitting me all at once. Anger, shame, confusion, disgust. But above all, I felt like a damn fool. Like I'd been asleep while someone slowly disassembled my life, piece by piece. And I kept thinking about what Madison said at the baby shower. This is the man I wish had raised me. I had done her homework when she was little. Stayed up all night when she had the flu. Taught her how to ride a bike. Helped pay for her college. And still, when it came time to give a toast to her real father, I didn't even make the damn list. Something inside me twisted when I thought about her smile that day. It looked so genuine. So proud. What the hell had I done to deserve this? Back at the house the next day, she acted like nothing had happened. Like we hadn't had that conversation. She made dinner. Asked me if I wanted to watch a movie. It was like she'd reset her brain. Or maybe she expected me to. But I couldn't unsee it. Couldn't unknow it. I played along. Ate the food. Smiled when she cracked her little passive-aggressive jokes. Because now, I wasn't just the betrayed husband. I was the one holding the detonator. That weekend, I showed up at Gary's condo. Didn't knock. Just waited until he came out to check his mail. The look on his face when he saw me? Priceless. Mike, man. Don't. I stepped forward. I just need to ask one thing. He stood there like a deer in headlights. How long? He didn't answer. Just looked away. That long, huh? I nodded slowly. Before or after she had Madison? Still nothing. I'll take that as before. I didn't hit him. I thought about it. But I didn't. He wasn't worth a lawsuit or a jail cell. But as I turned to walk away, I said one thing that made him go pale. She's all yours now. That night, I came home and filed for divorce. Didn't tell her. Just let the papers arrive when they did. When she opened them, she laughed again. That same condescending laugh. You think this scares me? No, I said. I think it frees me. She rolled her eyes. You'll come crawling back. You always do. You need someone to take care of you. No, I said, calm as hell. I just needed someone not to lie to me every day for 20 years. I expected her to rage, to throw something, but she didn't. She just walked out of the room like it was beneath her. That was the moment I knew it was over. Not just the marriage, the illusion. I'd been living next to a stranger. One who wore my last name like a costume. One who could sit across from me for years, smile, kiss me, and think about someone else the whole time. And our daughter? She made her choice. She'd picked Gary. Fine. Let her. I wasn't going to beg for love anymore. Not from anyone. I sold the house 3 months later. Gave Jessica her cut and signed every document without blinking. Moved into a small place near the lake where no one knew me. Started over with less, but it felt like more. Because every day I woke up without her was a day I wasn't being lied to. And the best part? No more pretending. I started talking to my younger brother again. Reconnected with a few friends I'd pushed away because Jess didn't like them. I even joined a local mechanic shop, part-time. Got my hands dirty, got my mind clear. And I'll tell you something most people don't believe. Peace after chaos feels better than love soaked in lies. I never got a real apology. Never got a confession, or even an ounce of regret from her. But I didn't need it. She burned everything down. I just made sure I didn't stand in the fire. A few months went by, and I thought maybe, just maybe, that was the end of it. Then the invitation came. Madison was hosting a welcome dinner for the baby. Said it was important. Said everyone would be there. And, you're still family, Dad. That's what her text said. Like an afterthought. Like a pity call. At first, I wasn't going to go. What was the point? I knew the game by now. I was the outsider. The biological father no one really wanted around. Just a name they had to include so they wouldn't look like monsters. But something in me, it wasn't pride, wasn't hope, maybe just habit, told me to show up. So I did. Brought a little box with a gold bracelet inside. For my granddaughter, I said when I handed it to Madison. She barely looked at it. Just tossed it on the gift table like it was another envelope full of diapers. Jessica and Gary were there, of course. Holding hands, whispering, acting like the king and queen of some warped little family kingdom. I avoided them. Sat near the edge of the room. Sipped on flat soda and watched everyone laugh like they'd been cast in a sitcom, and I missed the script. Then the toast happened. Madison stood up with her wine glass. Cleared her throat. I just want to say something real quick, she said. This man, she looked at Gary, her voice already shaking with emotion, has been more of a father to me than anyone ever could. He's the man I wish had raised me. Some people clapped. Some looked unsure. And then she said it. He will be the only true granddad of my daughter. A couple of gasps. A few awkward glances. No one looked at me. No one stopped her. Not Jessica. Not even my own damn brother, who stood there biting his lip like he didn't know what to do. So I stood up. Didn't make a scene. Didn't cry. I just walked out. Quiet. Like I wasn't even there to begin with. The air outside was cold, like the whole world was exhaling. I sat in my truck. Watched my hands grip the steering wheel. And for a while, I didn't feel anything at all. Not rage. Not pain. Just empty. Then I heard the footsteps. Someone was coming out. I thought maybe, Madison had realized what she'd done. That she'd chase after me like in one of those movies where things get tied up in a neat bow. But no, it was my granddaughter's other granddad. Gary. He jogged up to the truck like we were going to have some heart-to-heart. Mike, he said, hands in his pockets. I think we should talk. I stepped out of the truck. Quiet. Measured. He flinched. Maybe he thought I was going to hit him. I didn't. I just looked him in the eye and said, "You can have the lies, Gary. You earned them." Then I got in, turned the key, and left. The next day, I blocked Madison's number. Sent her a short letter. Just one line. You'll understand one day what it means to be betrayed by someone who shares your blood. I didn't expect her to write back. And she didn't. Jessica? She tried once, Some sarcastic email about overreacting and not being mature. I didn't open it. Some people will never apologize. Some will never admit what they've done. They don't think they have to, because they've rewritten the story in their own heads, and in their version, they're the heroes. Let them have it. I've got no interest in fighting ghosts. But every now and then, I catch myself remembering, sitting on the couch, watching old home videos. Madison at 6 years old, in a tutu, twirling, laughing. Back when she called me daddy. Back when I meant something. Those memories, they cut deeper than any words she ever said as an adult. Because they were real. And now, they're just artifacts of a life I thought I had. And never really did. A few weeks passed, and the silence was like a second divorce. It wasn't just losing a wife. I'd buried the illusion of a daughter too. And in that void, I had to figure out who I was without them. That's the part no one tells you about betrayal. It's not just about what they did. It's what they took. Every little memory you thought was solid suddenly starts to rot. I'd look at old photos and wonder, was she already cheating here? Was Madison already slipping away from me then? It's like your life becomes a crime scene, and you're stuck doing the forensics. I started journaling. Not because I'm some poetic soul, but because the thoughts wouldn't stop otherwise. I'd write things like, my wife kissed me goodnight after screwing another man, and I smiled back. Or, my daughter used my last name like a doormat. I started keeping a list too, not of things I hated, but things I missed. Small things. The way Madison used to run to me when she scraped her knee. The way Jess used to hum while making coffee before she became stone cold. Before the masks. Before Gary. One night, I got a call. Unknown number. I let it go to voicemail, then curiosity got the best of me. It was Madison. She was crying. Hi, Dad. I don't know if you'll ever listen to this. I don't even know why I'm calling. I miss you. The baby's got your eyes. God, I don't know what's real anymore. Please just call me back. I listened to it twice. Then I deleted it. Because I knew that voice. That wasn't regret. That was panic. Something had gone wrong. And now she remembered who kept the boat from sinking all those years. I didn't know her anything, but it still hurt like hell to press delete. 2 days later, I saw Jessica. Not planned. Grocery store. Aisle 6. She was reaching for salad dressing. I almost walked past, but she saw me. She froze. I nodded once, out of pure reflex. She had the nerve to smile. Mike, she said, like we were exes catching up over coffee. You look good. I didn't respond. She kept talking. Listen, about everything. I know it didn't end well. But maybe, someday, we can sit down and talk like adults. Clear the air. I looked at her. Really looked. The same face I used to wake up next to every morning. But now it just looked like something I didn't recognize anymore. I said, you don't talk to a knife about how deep it cut. And I walked away. She didn't follow. Didn't call after me. That was the last time I saw her. A month later, I finally unpacked the last box in my new place. It was labeled Office, Personal. Inside were old cards. Photos. Notes from Madison when she was young. One in crayon said, you're the best daddy in the world. Love you forever. That one wrecked me. But I didn't cry. Instead, I framed it. Put it on my bookshelf. Because I needed to remember that, at one point, I was enough. And maybe I still was. One night, I went out to a little lakeside bar. Place called Red Pine. Sat by myself at the counter. Ordered a whiskey neat. Just one. There was a woman 2 seats down. Older. Gray streak in her hair. Reading a paperback, sipping a beer. She looked over. Smiled, not the flirty kind. The human kind. You alone? She asked. Yeah. Me too. We didn't flirt. Didn't swap numbers. We just talked. About books. About road trips. About dumb songs that get stuck in your head. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like a broken man dragging around ashes. I just felt present. I don't know if I'll ever fall in love again. Don't even know if I want to. But I'll tell you what I do know. Trust isn't something you give because someone wears a ring, or shares your blood, or says the right things. Trust is earned every damn day. And the moment someone treats it like it's optional, that's when you stop giving it. Not out of bitterness. Out of self-respect. Spring came faster than I expected. The lake thawed. The air smelled like dirt and pine. Everything was waking up again, including me. I didn't recognize the man I'd become, in a good way. I started doing small things just for myself. Morning walks. Sunday fishing. I fixed up an old '78 Ford that sat in my neighbor's barn for years. It felt good to rebuild something with my hands, something honest. Madison didn't call again. Didn't text. Part of me thought she might show up someday, knock on my door with the baby in her arms, acting like time rewrites betrayal. But she didn't. That silence turned into a kind of peace. Cold at first, but steady. I ran into her husband, Gary, once more. Out in town. He was buying diapers. Alone this time. He looked rough. Bags under his eyes. That cocky walk of his gone. He saw me, gave a weak nod. I didn't even slow down. He's living my old life now. The one Jessica poisoned. Let him. It's strange, you know? Watching the wreckage you barely escaped from slowly catch fire behind you. Only this time, you're not in it. You're just passing by. That woman from the bar? Her name's Rachel. I saw her again. Not planned. She came into the shop for a new battery. We talked. Laughed. She asked if I still drink whiskey alone. No, I said. Now I drink it with decent company. She blushed. Told me to give her a call sometime. So I did. We've been grabbing dinner once a week. No expectations. Just two people who've had their share of heartbreak, trying not to fake it anymore. It's weird how you start over. One minute you're planning retirement with someone. The next you're learning how to cook for one, realizing you like the quiet more than you ever admitted. I found an old voicemail on my burner phone last week. From Jessica, dated back to when the divorce was still fresh. She sounded angry. Real bitter. You think this makes you better than me? You're just a coward, Mike. A weak man who couldn't keep his family together. Hope the silence keeps you warm at night. I played it twice. Then I laughed. Because no, Jessica, the silence does keep me warm. It's not full of lies. Not full of fake smiles or twisted stories or toasts made for the wrong man. It's just me, and the truth. And that truth is simple. I survived you. I'm still here, breathing deeper, laughing harder, living lighter. And you? You're still playing house in the rubble you built. I don't pity you. I don't hate you. I just don't care anymore. And that's freedom. It was late summer when I realized I hadn't thought about Jessica in weeks. Not even in passing. Her name didn't come up in my head when I brewed coffee, or when I folded laundry, or when I sat by the lake with a cold beer and a warm sky overhead. It just vanished. I hadn't erased her. I'd just grown past the part of me that still kept her on a shelf, like a wound I'd revisit. That's when I knew it was really over. Not just the marriage, not just the betrayal, but her. And Madison? She sent one more message. This time a picture. Her daughter. My granddaughter. In a pink sundress, giggling, standing beside a man who wasn't me. No caption. No apology. Just that snapshot. As if it were enough to fix years of silence and scarring words. I didn't respond. Not out of cruelty. Out of peace. I'd accepted that some people will write you out of their story the moment you stop serving their version of the truth. You become a background character in your own life if you're not careful. But not anymore. Rachel and I, we're steady. Nothing dramatic. No lies, no games. Sometimes we spend hours doing nothing together. And it's the best kind of nothing I've ever had. I told her the whole story one night. Every ugly detail. She didn't flinch. Just poured me another drink and said, "You're not broken. You were just loyal to the wrong people." That line stuck with me. Because it's true. I used to think I failed as a husband. As a father. I used to carry that guilt around like a badge. Like maybe if I'd just worked harder, smiled more, looked the other way longer, things would have turned out different. But no. I was just the only one playing the game fair. Now, I live quiet. I live clean. And if there's one thing I'd tell any man reading this, any guy sitting in a truck, heart pounding, wondering if the woman next to him is sleeping with someone else, it's this. If you feel it in your gut, you're not crazy. If she starts laughing a little too hard at someone else's jokes, stops talking to you with her eyes, starts hiding her phone, you're not paranoid. You're waking up. And when the truth comes, and it will, don't beg. Don't scream. Don't shrink. Stand. Walk. Start over. Because you're not losing a wife. You're losing the lies she built around you. And on the other side of that pain, there's something you forgot was yours. Yourself. I got mine back. Took hell to get here. But now, when I look in the mirror, I don't see a broken man. I see a man who knows what betrayal feels like. And chose to live anyway.